Hey guys, this is going to be a video on how to install a fire extinguisher in your car. This was my realization of a need for a fire extinguisher in my personal vehicle. There was an emergency broadcast that came out stating there was a vehicle fire in a parking lot. I ended up being the first responder and proceeded to put out the fire. To my sudden realization, my fire extinguisher in my departmental vehicle was out of order. Instead, I set up a perimeter and waited for LAFD to arrive. While waiting for the fire department, the fire intensified immensely. If my fire extinguisher was in working condition, I would have easily been able to put out the fire. Tools you're going to need for this install are a fire extinguisher. This is a Kiddie fire extinguisher, which I bought from Home Depot. It's also available on Amazon and it's very affordable. The fire extinguisher mounting bracket, this came with the fire extinguisher. A drill bit, washers, screws with nuts, and a Phillips head and flathead screwdriver, as well as a color pencil. This is a silver color pencil. Yellow color pencil will work as well, and depending on the carpeting in your trunk, you might need a different color pencil to do your markings. In terms of the size of the drill bit, I don't have a size for this one, but you would just choose one that's smaller than the screws that you will be using. And we're going to be installing it right here onto the carpeting of the trunk. So you want to decide where you want to mount your fire extinguisher. You want to mount it in a place where it's easily accessible and unintrusive. Also keep in mind that you might have a portable jack underneath your carpeting of your trunk. In this particular vehicle, the portable jack is on the right side, so putting it on the left will not interfere with us having to remove the fire extinguisher every time we want to gain access to the portable jack. Once we find a place to mount the fire extinguisher, you want to get your colored pencil that's contrasted to the carpeting. In this case it's black, so I'm using a shiny gray colored pencil. A yellow colored pencil will work just as well. So go ahead and make sure the fire extinguisher is all the way aligned to the side of your carpeting, and make sure the handle and nozzle are not being blocked by the carpeting, and make sure it's in a good position. Once you have your position set, go ahead and press firmly on the fire extinguisher and go ahead and mark the side of the mounting bracket on the side as well as the top. Once you have that mounted, or once you have that marked, go ahead and take off the fire extinguisher while holding onto the bracket. The bracket's going to get unaligned a little bit, but align it back to the marks that we've already marked. Hold it down, and then get your color pencil and color in the screw bolts, top and bottom. So next, we're going to have to remove this side panel right here to get access to the carpeting on the side right there. So this is held on by 3 body panel screws. We only need to take off 2 to gain enough access. So to remove these body panel screws, get your Phillips head screwdriver in this particular case. Unscrew it like you would any other screw, and then it'll pop out right there. From that point on, get your flathead screwdriver, go under, pull on the part that already came up as we unscrewed it with the Phillips head screwdriver. Get your flathead screwdriver, come underneath right there like so, and then pop off. And then we'll repeat on the second body panel screw right over here. So go ahead and unscrew it, pull on the part that came out, get your flathead screwdriver, and then pry from the bottom. Alright, so the next step would be to peel off the bottom carpeting of your trunk. Remove your side panel on the bottom. From there, we could go ahead and push out this side panel after removing the bolts. And then you could proceed to removing the carpeting by untucking it, just like so. And as we can see, our marks are still here. And from there, just get your drill and drill out the holes on the marked areas. Alright. With those holes drilled out, go ahead and get your bolt. Put it through the hole in the bracket, peel out the carpeting some further, get better access, and then feed it through the hole. Alright, so I fed it through the hole. Now, want to proceed to get your washer, feed it through the back. Let it just sit there in place, then get your nut and tighten it all together. Once you got it started with your hand, go ahead and get your Phillips head screwdriver. Attach it to the screw. Get your finger to hold onto the nut and go ahead and tighten it down. We're not using a wrench to hold onto the nut because the set that I purchased that actually works really well with the mount does not have a proper millimeter or standard size wrench that fits onto the nut itself. So that's why I'm just using my finger. You could use pliers to get it even tighter, but for this setup, tightening it to the carpeting should be just fine because we're not going to get as much vibrations as it would be if it was attached to the frame. So you'll just go ahead and do the same thing on the bottom side. So this is just a look inside on the other side of the carpeting to give you an idea of what the screw, washer, and nut setup should look like. Chances are you're not going to be able to see this either, but it'll give you an idea of what the process is. So now that we have everything screwed down and it's tight, let's go ahead and just put everything back together. So just push your carpeting back in, and then tuck it back under or underneath your side molding. There might be tabs on the end of this carpeting, so make sure it's tucked in. Once that's all set, go ahead and push in your plastic molding. Make sure it's underneath your rubber gasket right here. Once that's in place, go ahead and get your plastic body clips and set them back in. Hold it from the Phillips head part. Go ahead and put it into the hole, and when you're putting it in, press the edge, not the screw itself. So go ahead and put it into the hole, press on the edge, and then as you can see, the Phillips head is still sticking out. Once it's firmly in, push on the top of the Phillips screw, and there it is, locked into place. So now let's go ahead and get our portable jack stand cover. Put it back underneath the carpeting. There you have it. Your fire extinguisher is now securely installed in your vehicle. I personally had this set up for about a month now, and it's held up during highway speeds and corner. On a side note, you want to make sure that your fire extinguisher is in good condition when you actually do need it. So every month or two, be sure to take out the fire extinguisher from the mount and inspect it. So go ahead and just remove the fire extinguisher from the mount. And then you want to check the pressure. So, as long as the needle is in the green area, where it says full, you're good. And then during your regular inspection, you want to be sure to turn the fire extinguisher upside down and smack it on the rear. This ensures that the fire retardant material stays loose and does not solidify. And this technique is used by fire extinguisher repairmen, and that's all they have to do every month or two. So if you just do that and check the pressure gauge, that'll ensure that your fire extinguisher will be working when you actually do need it.